Welcome to the Women Seen and Heard podcast. Want to become a more confident presenter and conference speaker? Meet Anita Perez-Ferguson and Lois Phillips, who are the co-authors of the Women Seen and Heard Speakers Journal, and they want to share what they've learned about women's speaking styles from their professional speaking careers. In each weekly podcast, they'll select and take turns responding to one prompt taken from the speaker's journal. In the closing moment, they offer a simple single tip you can put to use right away. Enjoy.
Anita, let me ask you a question from our chapter about how women speakers face unique challenges. Think about a time when you had to assert yourself while dealing with another person with whom you share a personal or collegial relationship. What made you speak up? Explain how you felt afterwards.
It's a tough question, and it can be very uncomfortable. I think it's actually more difficult to assert yourself with a friend than it is with a stranger. The reason that I say that is because in our modern practice of anonymous criticism that we do online, we're very used to speaking our criticisms to strangers. But owning your opinion is much more difficult when the person with whom you disagree is right in front of you, and even more difficult if it's a friend. Here's something that I keep in mind. I try to practice some critical thinking and expression with a friend, and this helps me every time there is a lot of conflict between us. I was promoted up to speaking when I learned about my most vocal opponent and her strong opposition to my position on abortion or women's rights to choose. Now, I was kind of amazed at how difficult it was to communicate with her until I understood her desire to protect her sister. Then I realized why she was adamant in her position. So, learning how to deal with another person when you disagree, the first step for me has always been listening to their story. When you listen to their story, you're able to keep the dialogue going. That's why I put this kind of a 3-part skill together. First, it is the you. I want to listen to your story. I want to hear your opinion. Second, it's my turn to speak. I want to own my own opinion and share my motivation. I might say, well, I really appreciate you sharing that, but I have a different perspective given my experience. Finally, you want to draw a line linking the differences of perspective and finding what you have in common. You might say, we have some real differences to consider, but I think we could find some common ground. Let's keep this discussion going. So here's that in a nutshell as a tip or a tool. Remember the you, I, we progression and practice it. Find out what they're thinking and why. Share your honest opinion with no compromises. And then share the desire to find the common ground and keep the conversation going. You could do this, and it works both with friends and with people you don't know. This is just one of those tips. You can find the whole podcast schedule at Women Seen and Heard on Facebook.